Welcome to this month's Purple and Gold. Thanks for being here. Let's kind of call this for Hayden High Porch Picnic here this afternoon. So we miss him a lot in Iowa, that's for sure. It's great to have all of you here, and we have two really special guests. Roger's going to introduce Emily here in a little while. And Dick's over there, and Jason's going to come up in a minute and introduce Dick. So we have two Muscatine greats in the audience today. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. McGorry for hosting us last month out at the board office. I understand it was a very nice program, and I watched it, and I'd like to thank you for all the kind words you had for me at the end. I really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't personal. I was just speaking for the group.
That's what I noticed. They all kind of enjoyed it. Okay, here you go.
We didn't miss that, did we?
I just want you guys to have the first say, okay? Casey was talking at spring training, and he told Yogi that he needed him to talk to the team. So Yogi said he was only going to say one word to the team, and only one word, and that word was World Series. So it followed through that he had. Now also, he said, it's really hot here in Florida, so it's not the heat, but it's the humidity that gets to you. Now, when John McKay was the football coach at Tampa Bay, he was going through his first year, and he said that if the National Football League had a bunch of prizes, if they had 97 prizes, and they gave them away, he'd probably get the 98th prize, which would be a trip to Green Bay in December. He didn't think that was much of a prize. He said that the greatest feeling in the world is winning the Super Bowl. But the second greatest feeling in the world is losing the Super Bowl. So either way, you're a big winner. This is Roger. Roger told me the other day that there are three things that happen when you get older. And of course, the first one is you have a little problem with your memory, and then you can't remember the other two. So the conversation was ended. But the other thing is, I was told that, you should never get in trouble with the law, especially if you have to go to court, because Casey said that if you ever go to court, he told his team, if you ever go to court and there's a jury, you're in trouble because there's 12 people there who were never smart enough to get out of jury duty. Dick, come on up, and Jason, come on up. Jason's been, the director for several years. How many?
10 years.
10 years already. And his dad was how many more than that?
25.
So the two of them basically have been
We've got a stronghold on
Dick's,
Special Olympics.
yeah, Special Olympics, and they do a tremendous, wonderful job.
Thanks.
And they've always then been a coach or a director for Dickie. And so I'm going to turn this over to Jason, and I want you to talk about Dickie a little bit.
Oh, sure. All right, well, thanks, Chuck, for having me here. I don't know if this guy really needs much introduction. You guys... but Dick Vetter, recent news that he wanted me to share, Chuck wanted me to share, is that he was nominated to be in the Special Olympics Iowa Hall of Fame. And so my dad and I nominated him. There's no better example or better athlete, better person that exemplifies Special Olympics than Dick Vetter does. This guy was born in an era of exclusion where if you were born, you were given up, you were institutionalized or worse. And so his family said otherwise, and they raised him right, and he had a good community support here, and tremendous athlete, just a great, phenomenal person. So he started back in 1970 with 6 other athletes in Special Olympics. And so next year we celebrate 50 years, which he celebrates 50 years as well. So, which is quite a big deal. But December 2nd, we nominated him, and he was inducted into the Special Olympics Iowa Hall of Fame. And Chuck can tell you more about the Iowa Hy-Vee Hall of Pride because he was a part of that. But it's quite a big deal. Special Olympics has its own section in the Iowa Hall of Pride with athletes, and he's one of about 12 that have been elected into the Hall of Fame, which is quite a big deal. Is there anything else you want me to add?
No, but I want Mr. McGorry to come up. He
Is there anything that you want to say, Dick?
We'll have right after Mr. McGorry.
All right.
I was
Go
really
ahead now.
surprised to get this award. I want to thank Tom Brady for coming.
Yeah, we've got Tom here, and Jerry's been a big help, and churches, they've always been here to support him and get him to quarterback club and purple and gold, and really there's just a big, strong community support, not just for Dick, but for anybody that has special needs. We've got a grandparent of an athlete here. We've got a sister of an athlete here, which says a lot for our community and the support that they have. And I've moved away for about 10 years and came back, and I've lived in a lot of communities, and there's no community that's more supportive, inclusive, and accepting with people with special needs or disabilities than Muscatine. So thank you.
Just pass it along.
Thank you.
Turn around so that everybody can see you.
Turn this way. You're pretty demanding here. Oh, the camera. Oh, okay.
Well, I don't get a chance to do this.
I know you don't. Dickie, I'm speaking on behalf of the school district. We want to congratulate you on your wonderful honor and award. But I also, from the district, we know how much you've supported our district and how much you've done, and we consider you part of our Muskie family. And we have a couple of gifts for you that we thought you might enjoy. We have a sweatshirt for you, a Muskie sweatshirt, and then also a T-shirt for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And congratulations again, Dickie.
Dick had an open house, and he had about 200-300 people over there. It was unbelievable. So what a tribute. Dick, thanks for coming today. Jason, thanks for having him here, and we really appreciate everything Dick.
If everybody wants to come up and see that.
We'll leave it right there till after the meeting, okay?
Do you want me to stay up here or go back? Or?
You can stay right there if you want to.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Roger, you want to come up? Or do I have a question?
Well, I just want to mention on Dick, I probably have known him longer than anybody in this room. When we were kids, like I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was in the Boy Scouts with Dick. Yeah, and that was quite a special treat. It was at the old, which was the KC's place up on the hill, it's long gone. That's where we used to have the meetings up there. And I have to say, then, Dick, you're special today, and you were special then.
Yeah.
Well, we have another honoree today being with us. I began working at the Muscatine Journal back in the late 70s, or late 60s, I guess, early 70s, when I came back from the service. So I've seen a few basketball games, football games, everything else, but I don't know as if there's ever been a more special athlete than Emily. She was an inspiration for the entire community, the school, and then after Muscatine, she went on to the Western Illinois University, where she had a great 4-year career over there as well. And I don't know as if she's the only one that has ever gone from Muscatine to the NCAA tournament or not, but I can't remember of anybody else. So I'm sure she'll talk about that as well. And I just want to say I've enjoyed watching her both at the high school and in college. Emily?
First of all, just want to say thank you for the invite to Chuck and Roger, and congrats to Dickie. That's great representation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emily Wieskamp Clemens. Most of you know me as. I got married in June to Matt, and sorry, it's hard to follow this because I have a cousin is in the Special Olympics as well. So I played 4 sports here in Muscatine. I played softball, basketball, volleyball, and soccer. Basketball was always my favorite, but softball was a close second. I was able to play for a variety of coaches and really respect every person that I was able to play for, but 2 coaches in particular stood out to me, and I promise I was going to say this even if you weren't here, but Coach Schur was a very special person to me, kind of like a father figure, and just a great representation of Muscatine and what we stand for. And what he was able to do with the softball program here is just tremendous, and it speaks volumes to what he did for the program. And it's a hard position to fill after you lose a coach he was that great. So I'll tell a funny story about Coach Schur now. I don't remember if I was an 8th grader or a freshman, but we were playing on the road at Bettendorf, and we had runners in scoring position, and I was up to bat, and I popped out or did something wrong, and felt like I let my team down, and I walked into the dugout, probably stormed into the dugout, and threw my helmet, and all of a sudden I hear time, and I'm like, this is softball, like I don't even know if you can call timeout, and here comes Coach Schur marching across the diamond. He didn't go around, and just ripped me a new one. Basically let me know.
You're not the only one.
Basically let me know that was not acceptable, and he instilled that in me at a young age, and definitely I carried that into the rest of my high school career as well as my collegiate career. So thanks for chewing my butt that one time. And then Coach Susan Orvis, I'm sure you all know her as well. Just a tremendous person, and really helped and guided me to the next level. I was told that by a lot of coaches that I was too short, and she was relentless in reaching out to those coaches and helped me earn a scholarship at Western Illinois, where I was able to play for 4 years. So Coach Orvis is a tremendous person, and I'm very grateful to be able to work alongside her now as part of the staff for the girls team, and I get to coach the girls that were in the bottom left hands of the bleachers at the high school at every single one of the games when I was growing up. So I get to be their cheerleader now, and it's been a blessing to work with them every day. And we have a game Friday, so come out and watch us play Davenport North. They're a good team, but this team's going to bounce back from our loss. So I played 4 years at Western Illinois. My freshman year was the typical freshman transition for most athletes. I kind of had that freshman mindset where I didn't feel like I was being utilized enough. But in the grand scheme of things, I just wasn't ready at that point. The transition is a hard one, and mentally and physically, your body has to change a lot in order to be ready to play at that high of a level. And my college coach was very tough on me as well. The first practice, we were doing a drill, and I didn't do it right. So he yelled at me, and I just kind of put my head down, and then he was all about finishing the drill. So I went up to shoot a layup to finish the drill, and he came from behind me and swatted my ball across the gym and told me to go get it. I was like, well, I kind of have to because I need to finish the drill. So then he grabbed me after practice and just told me, I'm going to be on you, and we'll see if you can handle it, because I think you could be a special player if you remain coachable and put the work in. So that was definitely motivation for me. In my freshman year, you know, I was playing half the game, but when you come from never being taken out of the game, you feel like you're benched basically. So looking back, it wasn't that bad. I thought it was the end of the world at that time, but it was a great experience, and I learned a lot about myself as a teammate because you're used to being the star, and when you go to college, everyone's the star. So you have to kind of form a new identity there, and I feel like I became a lot better teammate after my freshman year. And I really had a senior who took me under her wing, and it was a really good experience for me. And as sophomore, junior, senior came along, I played a lot more. I was able to start. We had a lot of great moments. My junior year, we ended up we won the regular season championship and then went on to win the conference tournament as well to win a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. So that was beyond special for me and for our team and coaches as a whole. We hadn't been to the NCAA tournament since 1995, I believe. So it was huge for our program and just kind of put Western Illinois on the radar a little bit. And my senior year was great as well. You know, we were able to beat Illinois. But my favorite memory of playing at Western was it was a Christmas trip. We went out. We had a West Coast trip. We played at Stanford and then at Gonzaga. And Stanford at that time was number 16. And they'd lost like 10 home games in 10 years. Obviously, Tara Vanderveer is one of the best coaches in the history of the women's game. And you walk into that gym and there's no more space for banners to be hung because the gym is full. And we went on the road and we were able to beat them. And that was just an incredible feeling. And my family was there. My mom and her fiance were able to come out there, my brother, my aunt and uncle and their family, and just a great experience that I'll always remember. Beating Stanford, and to be able to say that is just pretty special, especially someone from Muscatine. And I just want to say thank you to the Muscatine community. You know, my teammates and my coaches kind of gave me crap because I talked about how special Muskie Nation was. They didn't really get it, but when I would play and I'd look up in the crowd and there would be Muscatine people there for me, and just seeing the amount of people that fill the stands at Carver for Joe. It's just a special place, and I'm proud to be from here.
Okay. Here's your time for questions. Did you win the Lowe's Senior Award?
The what?
The Lowe's Senior Award. Weren't you nominated for that?
Oh, it was the Nancy Lieberman. What
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I was a finalist.
Yeah, that was tremendous to be a finalist.
Tell us a little bit about playing in the NCAA tournament. Being on national TV and everything.
Yeah, so we played at Florida State. We felt a lot more special than we felt at Western Hall because our name was on everything. Just a great experience. Florida State was a great team. I think they ended up making the Elite Eight that year, and we were up 2 at half, and they ended up coming back. Pure athleticism, just couldn't match it, but it was a great experience. And for Western to be able to do that kind of thing, you know, some of the bigger schools, they're treated like that every game, but for a mid-major team, you know, it was really special for us, and all of our families were there, and you know, it was just really cool experience and something that I'll never forget. Yep.
Remember watching you while you played, what a joy it was for everybody to watch you play. Had one opportunity to see you in college. Should have gone into some other things, but it just didn't work out. That one time was when you were over at Carver Hawkeye Arena over, and as I recall out there, you know, Iowa was getting the best of you guys until it got down to the end. I know you were part of that game, and it was pretty exciting. Can you talk to us about that game?
Yeah, definitely. Playing at Carver is definitely a highlight of my career as well, just because I grew up a Hawkeye and obviously wanted to play there. But it worked out the way that it did, and we took them to overtime. We played extremely well that game, And I think Megan Gustafson was a freshman, so she was just not even hitting her peak of potential, but she killed us that game. I mean, she had like 20 plus and probably 15 rebounds. Just played a great game, and we didn't have the size to match up with it, but credit to her. She's obviously a great player, and just getting to play at Iowa was cool. There were tons of Muscatine people there, just to get to play in the arena that you grow up, attending games, and now getting to watch Joe, like it's the norm, and it's not. I mean, it's just huge for him too, and to see your brother-in-law get to play in Carver. Anybody from Iowa obviously looks at Carver like it's just the greatest place to play. Iowa doesn't have professional athletics, so we really stand behind the Hawks. So getting to play there in a different jersey was just as special.
You played pretty good.
Thanks.
Just
This is sophomore year, I think.
Sure, you kept scoring all these points to give them to get there.
Emily, I remember seeing you for the first time. You had all the attributes. I mean, when I saw you the first time, I knew, as far as how competitive you were, how hard you were just relentless. But the one thing that I thought I hadn't seen as much of that you really is how you were dedicated to weightlifting and so forth, lifting weights. Tell us a little bit about how that made a difference in your athletic career.
Yeah, it's actually a good point you bring up. When I talked to my teammates in high school, I was the only one who had weightlifting as a class at high school. They're like, you lift and that's like you get a grade? Like they had never heard of it, but what Coach Hawkins has been able to do in the weight room has been tremendous. He really instilled hard work into the athletic department. Those kids are going in there now. They're even lifting on game days. I know there's been changes, which I think is great. But getting up for early bird, doing those workouts, and he just holds you to such a high standard that I think was great preparation for the college level. And you can see it in some of the girls that I played with that had never lifted. They had to start by lifting the bar, and we were lifting 8th grade summer for softball. So definitely got an early start on that, and it made a huge impact.
Yeah, you were just so much stronger than a lot of the kids you were playing against. I thought they thought it was a big advantage.
Yeah, I mean, some of those girls had never lifted a weight before. They're 5'10", 180, and are lifting the bar. And it's like you see some kids now at the high school. Like I remember Miranda Cassidy was like shorter than me and could power clean more than anyone on our softball team. So it definitely helps the athletes of Muscatine.
Tell us a little bit about a typical in college day, as far as the basketball routine in college compared to high school.
Yeah, it kind of varied based on the day, but for season, obviously we practiced every day. We would do lifting about 3 times a week. I was one that took classes at 8 a.m. because I like to get them over with. That sounds bad, but I liked to get up early and take a nap before practice is how I should have said that. But so I would take classes from probably about 8 to 11, sometimes 8 to 12. I'd go home and take a nap, and then we would have lifting usually right before practice. Preseason was different because it was such a long season, but then again, preseason's so long, and you're lifting, playing open gym, doing individual workouts, going in on your own and shooting. I mean, it's just a huge time commitment. When we traveled during season, when we're on the road, sometimes we were gone Tuesday to Sunday. If you played 2 away games on like a Wednesday, Saturday, we wouldn't come home in between. So when you're on a 9-hour bus ride to South Dakota, it's not the same as being chartered back home every game. So was definitely an experience. I never want to drive to North Dakota or South Dakota again. Usually to North Dakota State we would fly, so that was nice. But it's long, it's enduring, and you have to mentally prepare yourself. You have to study on the bus. You have to make those adjustments, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Why don't you talk a little bit about becoming the assistant coach at Western and the challenges that presented with your teammates?
Yeah, so I graduated in December of my senior year with my bachelor's in marketing, and I was talking with my academic advisor, and she's like, you can either string this along or you can graduate and get started on your master's. And Western had a sport management master's, and so I actually did better when I would take 15 to 17 credit hours. I didn't like being enrolled in the 12. I just didn't feel busy enough. So I would always take 15 to 17, and so I was able to graduate early and start my master's. And then Matt had another year at Western, so I was like, well, I'm going to be the graduate assistant here for the school. And our bottom assistant got another job. So there was an opening. It was right before the season, and Coach Gravina pulled me in, and he's like, I want you to be this assistant coach. It'll be a full-time position. Can you handle that with your master's work as well? And of course, like, I was pumped. I'm like, my first job, right? I get to coach basketball. So I was really excited about that. And it was hard, especially at first. You know, these girls were some of my great friends that I had just played with a year, really a couple months prior. So it was a little bit of a transition. You know, they would come up to me at practice and say something, and I'm like, yeah, I can't really talk to you right now. Like, I'm not going to respond to that. So just learned to walk away. But they were really mature in the way that they handled it, too. They got used to it, and just being able to coach, like Olivia Kaufman, who was the point guard under me for 2 years, just to get to see her take the starting role and run with it. And I mean, it was a really cool experience. And those girls are still my friends. You know, Annabelle was a player. Annabelle's been one of my best friends since I was like 10. So to be able to coach her and see her thrive in her new role at Western too, it was just a really cool experience.
So how's it coaching now at the high school?
It's
compared
good.
to the college?
It's a lot different, but Coach Orvis, I mean, she runs a tight ship. She runs it like a college program, which I think is really good for the girls. And you know, she's serious about the film, and the structure of her days are exactly like what I had at Western. You watch film 2 days prior if you're able. She just takes it very seriously, the scouting report, and I think that's why she's been able to be successful. But it's fun getting to coach these girls that I've watched grow up. I've babysat some of them. My cousin plays, so getting to coach Grace and just see her develop as a person and an athlete, it's been special.
What is your goal for the future, to become a head coach at some time?
Yeah, I'd like to get back into coaching. Currently I'm working at All Steel, so not related at all. But Matt applied to physician assistant schools, and he was able to get into St. Ambrose here, so he has a 2-year program, and after that we'll kind of see. You know, we kind of wanted to branch out and move somewhere else, but we're exactly where we were meant to be, and being able to see family and live 10 minutes from family and grandparents and parents and siblings, it's been special to move back to Muscatine. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of college athletic department, you know, sport management type of opportunities in this area, but eventually that's the plan, and we'll see where we end up. I would love to get back into college coaching, anything intercollegiate athletic department, professional sport marketing, anything in the sport industry, I'd be thrilled to have. Grandpa, any questions? No, I appreciate you guys having me out today, and this was fun. I might have to come back.
Like Roger said, without a doubt, one of the top Muskies to ever play at Muscatine High School, men or women, no doubt about that. And you could not have a better role model, and that's really important. And Matt over here, same way, great athlete for us and a great kid, and it's just great to see you both here. Thanks for coming today, and we'll look forward to next month.